Hello and welcome to Leeroy Gaming, where today I'm going to be diving in headfirst and taking a look at all the class options within the Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous beta. Now, this video will be quite extensive, so I will recommend that you take a look at the timestamps in the description below. I like to create my videos in a format that mimics how I look at games, so you may or may not like it. But I like to go very much in depth. Most videos I've seen on these classes so far have kind of taken a quick look and on the class options, but kind of breeze through them. What I'm going to be doing is looking at all the classes, all the subclasses, kind of mousing over even at all the little upgrades from 1 to 20. So again, it will be an extensive video, and do take advantage of those timestamps. If you have any questions after watching this video, please feel free to post them in the comments below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. Go ahead and create a new character. And we'll skip this area. The other options, we're just going to be focusing on classes. I'm going to go ahead and start right at the top. So the first class is going to be the Alchemist. So this is interesting. This is a class, if you've never played one, kind of a ranged class. They literally throw bombs and can also use potions to kind of empower themselves. So almost like D&D kind of personal drug dealers to have different impacts to buff different elements. Now, as far as the base class goes, so you have the bombs, as I mentioned. You have the mutagen effects that levels up as you go and will impact different stats. They can brew potions that you can obviously use. And they can also throw anything. This is an area that I believe it impacts the bomb throwing as well. Now let's take a look at what happens when you level up the base class. So you have the basic proficiencies in light armor, but not shields, and basic weapons and bombs. But again, at a base, this class is mainly going to be throwing a bunch of bombs. And you're going to get access to a variety of bombs and effects as you level up. And it's going to work off the amount of bombs that you have per day is going to be impacted by your level as well as your intelligence modifiers. So these aren't like kind of bombs you craft. It's literally a component that refreshes. As you can see, as we level up, the basic area is just going to improve more and more. The other element is the mutagen. Again, you're going to start off with the ability to make a mutagen and use it right at level 1. Then at level 14, the effect of the mutagen lasts for 1 hour per level. That's a long time in this game. And then Grand Discovery at 20th level, Alchemist Grand Discovery. This is going to be... I actually don't know how this works since I've never hit level 20. Here are the other basic discoveries that you're just going to get. So the baseline is very straightforward. They're also going to get poison resistance starting at level 2. And it's going to increase as they level up. Finally getting poison immunity at level 10. Again, to throw anything and bring potion options. Now, as far as subcategories, we start with the, and I'm going to butcher this, the basically it's like a surgeon alchemist. So there's going to be some changes here. You're still going to have your bombs and your mutagens. Let's take a look what the differences are. So you're still going to see the basic bomb progression. And up here, by the way, I didn't mention it before, but these are kind of the feats that you're going to get every couple levels. It's pretty consistent across all classes. Some classes will get more or less. You're still going to get the mutagen. That doesn't seem to change. Still going to get the discoveries. See the description here. Throw anything and brew potion. But now you have the infused curative. So you can remove diseases, remove blindness, neutralize poisons. Skill focus, low religion, which kind of makes sense because you're kind of like a healer. And you get power over death. So at level 10, you can get the Breath of Life spell which is interesting. Now, if we look at the comparison, I don't know if there's any reason why somebody would want the base class. It looks like, oh, okay, I see there's the difference. So it looks like you do lose some. Yeah. So you lose the basic poison resistances. Now, when you come to the Grenadier, the key elements here are, as you'll notice right off the bat, a level 2. You're gonna get alchemic weapons, so you can infuse your weapons with so kind of like almost like poison your weapons, but it's like you're putting the alchemic properties on it. You also, unlike the basic alchemist that can only use basic simple weapons, you also get all martial weapon proficiencies, which is pretty big. In addition, you get, because you're specializing on offensive bombs and sacrificing some of the other elements, like the resistances, like the healing properties of the first subclass, you get precise bomb. This is huge. And when I played an Alchemist at lower levels in the previous version, precise bomb is huge because you don't impact other allies. This game does have friendly fire, but because these bombs are AoE, now you won't negatively impact your team members. You get direct blast. This is a different, you can kind of choose and toggle which kind of bombs you use, so you get this directed blast as an option. And then at 10, you get staggering blast, as you see described here. You still get poison resistances, but notice you do not get poison immunity like the base alchemist. Still the same, throw anything as well as potion. Then we have the Incense Synthesizer, which is, as described here, some alchemists focus their efforts on researching different kinds of incense to aid them allies in battle against the forces of the evil. So let's take a look at the differences here, main ones. So it looks like we still have the basic bombs, discoveries, poison resistances, and poison immunity. And it looks like, and again, this is a beta, so it's a work in progress. This looks like it's either hasn't been implemented or just the text isn't. But you also get incense fog. So at first level, you can use the ability to create incense fog in a 15 feet area. That's going to basically buff the attack bonus and weapon damage of the group. So it's an AoE buff. But it looks like, again, unfortunately, this class isn't fully implemented yet. And there's the Metamorph. This one is really cool thematically. So it's basically you kind of you kind of empower yourself and kind of turn yourself into a monster using these alchemical elements to kind of superroid yourself up, I guess. So you do notice that you don't have bombs. You still have the mutagens. You still have the discoveries. You still have the poison resistances and immunity. You get class skill of stealth. And then you basically become a shape changer, which is awesome. You can turn into a medium wolf early on. And it looks like, let's see here. You have different, a medium leopard, large bear, Smilodon, medium dragon-like creature, and finally dragon-kind too. So I don't know how this is different from like an actual dragon, but stats look pretty awesome. So again, if you want to transform into a beast, this is going to be the way to go. Let's see what else we have here. We have the Preservationist. So let's see here. So this looks, it says releases specimens to aid in battle. So what we see here is same bombs, still mutagens and some discoveries. No poison resists. Let's see here, brew. And now we have bottled ally. Oh wow, okay, so think of this as a summoner. So you get your bombs and then you can kind of throw potions. But really what they are is you're adding summoning spells that go all the way up to summon nature's ally 9. So I believe nature, that is the highest tier of a summon. So some classes don't get all the way up to level 9, they do. So you can be a summoning alchemist. And then we have the Vivisectionist. So this is basically kind of a hybrid between Alchemist and a Rogue. So again, mutagens to buff yourself, and then you get sneak attack just like rogues, and it's gonna keep going, leveling up quite a bit. You still have the poison resistances, so you can become poison immune. You have medical discoveries, so this looks like the other ones say just discovery, so this may be focused. I don't know if that means more defensive and healing discoveries. And you also get, it looks like, advanced talents. So advanced talents is what rogues normally get at higher level. So the advanced rogue talents instead of the basic rogue talents, which as it is exactly what it sounds like. They're just better versions and more powerful versions of rogue talents. Even though I believe there's even an advanced rogue talent that lets you pick a basic rogue talent if there's one that you really wanted. And final discovery. So lots of variety of this class. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to actually trying a Metamorph potentially, but we shall see. Now let's go on to the Arcanist. So Arcanist, I don't know too much about this class, so let's see the description. Some spellcasters seek the secrets of magic, pursuing the power to make the impossible possible. Others are born of magic in their blood, commanding unbelievable forces. So this is, yet others seek to meld the science of arcane scholars with the natural might of innate casters. So let me see, these Arcanists, so what they're talking about here is the difference between like wizards and sorcerers. Sorcerers have innate magic and wizards have learned magic. Arcanists are the shapers and tinkers of the arcane world, and no magic can resist their control. So I wonder if that means it's kind of a hybrid between sorcerers and wizards. Let's take a look. What would they get? Arcanist exploits. By bending, sometimes even breaking the rules of magic, Arcanists learn to exploit gaps and exceptions in the laws of magic. Allows them to break down forms of the various forms of magic. Interesting. So they gain arcane exploits as they level up. Let's see here. Most arcane exploits require the Arcanist to expend points from, so they get an arcane reservoir. Interesting. And you get more and more as you level up. You get cantrips, so those are like level 0 spells that you use as much as you want. I guess greater exploits. Magical supremacy at level 20. Arcanist learns how to convert her arcane reserve into spells and back again. Interesting. They can cast any spell she has prepared by expending number of points from arcane reservoir equal to the level of the spell. Huh. So this gives this caster more flexibility, which I'm gonna assume is counterbalanced by the fact that they may not be as powerful as a pure sorcerer or a pure wizard, for example. Here's the arcane reservoir. This is kind of the power source that's going to level up as they get more levels. And they also get consumed spells. Arcanists can expend available Arcanist spell slots as a move action, making unavailable for rest day. So basically, sacrifice spell slots to move more. And impacted by charisma, which is again is interesting because so charisma as a stat, much more like a working very much like a sorcerer. Okay. Now, as far as specialties, let's take a look. This is where all the flavor is going to be. And if you haven't noticed already, it's for me it seems like the subclasses seem a lot more fun and thematic than the base classes, but you can play the base classes. So Brownford Transmuter, frequently called Brownfurs, these transmutation-focused arcanists known for transforming themselves into animals. So let's see here. Let's look at the differences. So we've already seen kind of like a transforming alchemist. Now we have a transforming arcanist. So you still get the exploits, still get the cantrips. Now you have powerful change. So this is where they get to transform. She can expend 1 point from her arcane reservoir as a free action to bolster spells. If the spell grants a bonus to ability score, the bonus increased by 2. Okay, just kidding. So this is not transforming into diff creatures, but it's kind of transforming spells to gain buffs and making it more powerful. Sharing transmutations. Okay, that's interesting. So you can target other people. Get the greater exploit and transmutation supremacy still. Yeah, maybe I misread this. I thought she would transform into a creature, but it sounds like she's just transforming her spells into other more powerful effects. So again, it seems like manipulation of her spells. What do we have now? Next is Eldritch Font. For some Arcanists, power bubbling up from within is nearly too much to contain. Become adepts at shaping their magical energy without needing to bind it up in spells. So let's see what the difference here is. You still have the exploits. Looks like, yep. Still the cantrips. Now you have the Eldritch Surges. So let's look at the description. Third level Eldritch Font can, as swift action, pour more power into her spells and abilities. Can add 2 to the caster level and DC of a spell, increasing effectiveness level by 2 when using the exploit. So interesting. She becomes fatigued when using this, almost like a berserker that gets fatigued after raging. And then if she uses it again, will get exhausted. So unlike berserkers or barbarians that rage physically, it's almost like a magical rage. And then she gets improved surge. Oh, interesting. She can use the Eldritch Surge to make 2 attack rolls associated with spells. So just like having advantage on caster rolls, which is pretty uncommon. And then greater exploits, greater surges, so better versions of both. And then finally, bottomless well. Wow, she can. So once per day, basically refuel to get more points of arcane reservoir. So just can keep going like the Energizer Bunny. Simple weapon proficiencies. Okay, let's see here. There's the arcane reservoir mechanic in depth if you want to take a look at that. Consuming spells as before, and font of power. Interesting. So additional spell slots for each level. But the number of spells of each level that she can prepare reduces by 1. Huh. Very interesting. So slightly less amount of spells, but it seems like she can refresh and use them more often. So that's quantity of uses versus quantity of options. Now let's take a look at Unlettered Arcanist. Some Arcanists store their spells and whisper secrets within familiars instead of on paper. Oh, very interesting. So let me see, does that mean, I'm assuming it means they get a familiar? Or basically like a pet? Witch spell. Unlettered Arcanist follows a different arcane tradition. Witch spells instead of wizard and sorcerers. So basically a different focus format. There it is. So instead of the spell book, she gets a familiar, kind of like a pet. That's really, really cool. So just a little different flavor. And obviously acting more as a witch. I don't know how witches differ from wizards or sorcerers. We'll see in a bit if there is a wizard class. And then there's the White Mage. White Mage is an Arcanist touched by divine power. And has the ability to heal others. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But I'm guessing we'll see here. Spontaneous Healer. There you go. So she can use the Arcane Reservoir to use cure type spells and gets more uses as she levels up. Greater Exploits. Magical Supremacy. So not too much different, but basically the spontaneous healing is the element. So that's kind of interesting. So kind of a different look on healing. Let's go on here. So next class, Barbarian, one of my favorite classes. So they have alignment requirements, as you see here. Now the basic Barbarian, very straightforward. Barbaric proficiencies, simple martial weapons, pretty much all armor except heavy. Give you the Rage, which again you can do for numerous rounds per day. It's gonna provide different modifiers. As you can see here, there's gonna be buffs to melee attack, melee damage, throw damage, will saving throws, but you're gonna take an armor class penalty and also receive temporary hit points. So this is going to level up. You're gonna get more powerful versions as you level up. So greater rage, as you can see here. more powerful version. Tireless Rage, so there's no more of the fatigue element. So that is very important because you can get fatigued and then exhausted if you rage too many times, like starting and stopping. Okay, and there's Mighty Rage, so super rage level 20. You also get rage powers. So these are very barbarian specific powers that you gain basically every other level when you're not receiving your feats. So kind of like fighters. Fighters get tons of feats, while barbarians do too. They just alternate between normal feats and rage powers. You will get danger sense. So very, very kind of dodgy, avoiding traps. They will also receive fast movement. So they move faster when they wear anywhere from no armor all the way to medium armor. So only if they were to somehow wear heavy armor does this go away. Uncanny dodge, which is huge, kind of like rogues, and improved uncanny dodge. Can't be flanked at the higher level, which you get pretty early, level 5. They also get damage reduction. Now this is big, because this kind of damage reduction, from what I understand, can't be negated by any element. So this is like the ultimate damage negation. And it definitely does add up. It starts at like basically 1 damage off all hits, and then it looks like it goes all the way up to 5. And then finally you get Indomitable Will. So again, lots of resistances to will saves. You combine this with the rage, innate rage ability, and when they're raging, they are borderline immune unless you roll like a natural 1 in a lot of cases to will effect. So very, very cool base class. Now, I love these subclasses for Barbarian. The first one, Armored Hulk. Probably guess what this is. You can wear heavy armor, which is amazing. You still get to rage, but you basically sacrifice mobility. You like the dodging elements, etc., and the fast movements. But you do get the Indomitable stance, which basically makes it you're less likely to get run over, kind of trampled, etc. You do increase movement while wearing medium or heavy armor. So by the time you hit level 5, you will be moving 10 meters faster than normal. Still get the Indomitable Will, still the rage powers, and now you get Resilience of Steel. So this is interesting. So they basically get resistance against getting crit. So the way D&D and Pathfinder work is, the enemy has to hit a certain number on your AC to just hit you. But they could also get a critical hit. So getting resistance versus the critical hit is, no pun intended, or pun intended, critical. So at higher levels, you may still get hit, but the likelihood of you getting critical hit is going to be much, much less. And that is extremely valuable. And finally, you still get the damage reduction. So a very unusual form of Barbarian, as you don't think you normally think of Barbarians with heavy armor, but there you go. Beastkin Berserker. This is a new one compared to Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is a prequel to this game. So this one is some barbarians learn to take whatever comes their way, shrugging off mortal wounds with ease. So this is, let's look at the differences in this. I thought this was a different name, but Beastkin. I don't know if the descriptor is wrong or they just renamed it, because I remember seeing a similar, a similar description. Oh no, I guess I was looking at I was mousing over the wrong one. So Beastkin Berserker, my mistake. So while some barbarians take on bestial aspects in the rage, the Beastkin Berserker descends so deeply into primal fury, she actually transform into an animal. So shape-shifting barbarians confirmed. Lycanthropy. So basically, barbarian shape change into rampaging dinosaurs or megafauna. That's pretty awesome sounding. So let's look at what we get. So we got the basic normal proficiencies. We got a normal rage powers, it seems like, for the most part. Maybe a couple get less rage powers. So if we saw the base class was every other level, they're going to be more spread out early on. Then we get danger sense. So this is very similar still to how a base barbarian has. Still damage reduction, which is great. But then savage report. Beastkin berserkers add half their level of lore nature intimidation check. So kind of makes sense, one of nature. We get uncanny dodge, that's big, and now we get feral transformation at 4. 4th level, when entering a rage, beast can take a form of medium wolf. The function is Beast 1, except that the duration is for as long as the Beastkin Berserker rages. Okay, so it looks like they will transform at the same time as they rage. So it's basically go into a rage, and there is no separation between the rage and the transformation. So it's not like you transform and then you can choose to rage. They are intertwined, which is really cool thematically. Still has the uncanny dodge, which is awesome. Then at level 8, they can turn into a leopard. Leopard. I think I almost think like wolves are cooler, but and then at level 12, can turn into a large bear. Now that is very thematic. Now what I don't understand, it says they can turn into a bear. The descriptor says they can turn into other things. So like dinosaurs, I didn't see anything listed there, so maybe that's not been updated, or there'll be more options. Or maybe it pops up as an option, it's just not stated on the leveling scale. But anyway, very, very cool. Invulnerable Rager, let's see what we got here. So these individuals, these are the ones that are like basically, come at me, bro. You have the basic rage, again, normal rage continuation, normal rage powers. They get all they get way more damage reduction. Yeah, oh wow. So they got 10 versions of this. So that's pretty impressive. Extreme endurance. So getting fire resistance and cold resistance as they level up. Okay. Still get fast movement, and you get Indomitable Will. So you don't get the uncanny dodge, you don't get the danger sense, but this is just a very tanky without using heavy armor. So it's got like innate toughness, as opposed to kind of armor related toughness. You can still wear medium armor though, do note that. And you may or may not be able to pick up, I think as a trait you might be, or as a feat you may be able to get a heavy armor proficiency with this, but you just won't have the other kind of buffs as armored hooks do. Mad Dog. All right. So name of the wild savages who fight alongside rabid dogs. Oh, that's cool. Employ all manners of beasts. So they basically get pets. So starting level 1, you get Animal Companion. Awesome. What's key here is you'll notice it says the companions hit dice, abilities, skills, and feats advance at the druidic advanced level. So there are some classes that have pets that will say druid level -4, for example. That'll be a weaker pet, but this one is scales at a 1-to-1 ratio. So druids are kind of like the originally ultimate companion class as far as they always have, the most powerful pets level to level. Like rangers, for example, had weaker ones like -4. So that's important to note here. They get the fast movement. They get pack tactics. So when you flank with your pet, you get more powerful versions of tack bonuses. Ferocious trip. So your pet can trip as a bonus feat. That's great, right? And then they also get throat cutter. So whenever your pet bull rushes, overruns, or trip combat maneuvers against opponent, threatened by the Mad Dog, and Mad Dog can take an attack of opportunity. Oh, that's pretty cool. So that's an extra attack basically that they can proc. Still get the danger sense, rage powers, rage, and damage reduction. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. You get less rage powers, quite a few. You sacrifice quite a few rage powers for this, and you don't get the uncanny dodge, for example, but you get an extra basically pet, which is very, very, very helpful. And finally, we got, let's see here, final one is Pack Rager. Now, Pack Rager, we got Barbarian's Rage can be a thing of savage beauty, exhibiting lethal grace on this, uncontrolled displays of carnage. Interesting. So let's take a look what the differences are. You're still going to have the rage powers, proficiencies, bonus feats. Oh, interesting. So this one doesn't use rage powers. Or they still use rage powers, but they get additional feats. So this is very feat heavy. Barbarian. And then get the fast movement, the uncanny dodge, Raging Tactician. And then she gives teamwork feats to other allies. And basically, teamwork feats, normally the way it works is each person would individually have to have those feats, and when you have the same one, it procs the benefits, so like extra flanking feats. But this way, the other individual doesn't actually have to get it. The Barbarian can provide these feats to other players in the team. Gets some damage reduction, but let me see here. Now I don't know if this means it. Normally they had it's spread out, so I don't know if this one just gets damage reduction 1 and doesn't get the 13th, 16th level, etc. I'm guessing they don't. This description must be just a generic description. And then Indomitable Will. Very cool. Now moving on to the Bard. The Bard playing some music. Pay a coin to your witcher, right? So, or throw a coin to your witcher. Bards oh my god, capably confuse and confound their foes. So basically, buffs, debuffs. Let's take a look at the actual that they do through kind of their singing mechanic, which is normally kind of like an AoE effect, and you toggle it in game, and it pulses every tick, which is every 6 seconds, and it kind of counts down. You'll see like 30 rounds or something, and it counts down, and you can enable it or disable it. So they get the bardic proficiencies for the different weapons and armor they can wear, as you can see here. Inspire Courage. So this is kind of the base song that will improve weapon damage. So this is improved versions of it. They get cantrips. So this is basically, they get level 0 spells that they can spam. Detect magic. So it's an aura for detecting magic. Can be used in dialogues. That's big in this game. Both this game and the previous title, Pathfinder Kingmaker, a lot of opportunities to use abilities and skill checks in dialogue. So unlike some other RPGs that tend to kind of minimize that, you're going to get a lot of those options as you play. Bardic Knowledge. Now this is one of the key benefits of being a bard. Do not underestimate this effect. Bard adds half his class level, minimum 1, to all knowledge and lore skill checks, and make all knowledge and lore skill checks untrained. So you do not have to put any points in them, but if you do, they can become literally jack of all trades when it comes to knowledge and lore. It kind of makes sense. They travel their land, they take notes down, sing songs of things. You can inspire competence as an ability here. This is pretty cool for achieving tasks. Kind of have to micromanage that a little bit, like use it right before somebody's going to do a skill check to, you know, unlock a door, disarm a trap, other elements. So if you're kind of a gung-ho player, you may not use this as much. Jack of all trades, there you go. +1 to all skill checks. That's huge. So that's even like acrobatics, persuasion, intimidation, perception. Inspire higher levels of competence there. Bard talents, so they get very specific talents that are kind of basically rogue talents. So as you can see described here, and you're going to get 5 of them as you level up. Well versed, so you get saving throw bonuses against bardic performances, sonic and language dependent effects. So basically protect yourself from the impact of, sirens or other bards, etc. Soothing performance. Interesting. So they get a performance the equivalent of mass cure serious wounds. That is amazing. Wow. Okay, so that's like a very big AoE cure, it looks like. That's very powerful for level 12. And Inspire Heroics. Wow. So I don't know how long this it lasts as long as the targets are able to witness the performance. +4 morale bonus to saving throws and to +4 dodge bonus. Now notice it says morale bonus. Quick thing to note for new players. Morale bonus, like there's different types of bonuses, like stat bonuses, morale bonuses, alchemic bonuses. So if you have like 2 of the same type of bonuses, they won't stack. But if you had like a morale bonus and a stat bonus, they will stack. So that's key. This morale bonus, I don't think is as common. Then we got Fascinate. Interesting. So this is kind of like crowd control. Dirge of Doom. Whew. So this is, let me see here. So, sense of growing dread. You can cause enemies to be shaken. That's an impact that I believe enemies, they have like a minus to their hits, etc. Frightening Tombs is a more powerful version of that. Finally, Deadly Performance. The target must be able to see or hear the bard performance for one full round. So they have to do a will save check. If they succeed, the target is staggered for up to 4 rounds. And if they fail, they die. So you can insta-kill people through your songs. So that's pretty twisted and powerful. So as you can kind of see in Pathfinder, a bard isn't necessarily just like this joyous, positive class. It can be quite dark. Now let's look at the subclasses. There's quite a few. Archeologist. So the Archeologist, interesting. So let's look at the differences of this ability. The name kind of seems like if you want to roleplay Indiana Jones. So you still get Bardic Knowledge. You get Evasion now. Okay, so more roguey. Still get the Jack of all trades. Cantrips, Detect Magic. Archaeological Luck. Oh, wow, okay. +1 luck bonus on attack roll. So again, remember we looked at morale bonus before? This one has luck bonuses. So this would stack with a morale bonus and a stat, bonus as well. So we can utilize this luck buff multiple times, and it gets more powerful. That's really cool. You get the Barg, aka Road Callants as well. Clever Explorers. Okay, bonus. So you get Trickery and Perception check bonuses. And this, let's take 10. So whenever you see something like this, it says Archaeologists can always take 10 on a Trickery check. So this is kind of like an option. And the game defaults to this if you will auto pass from the last game. What that means is normally, let's say you have to roll a die, and you add that die, whatever you rolled, so between 1 and 20, add whatever your bonus is, and then it has to meet a target. But obviously, the average between 1 and 20 is 10. So this is kind of nice when you have kind of easier checks. But if you rolled like a 1 or 2, you would have failed. So this is actually much more powerful than it looks like. So it's just a way to kind of guarantee stuff that's easy to moderate. Danger sense, so avoiding traps, for example, that's really cool. Which kind of makes sense, Indiana Jones dodging the boulder, etc. And you get the uncanny dodge, and even get the advanced talents of the rogues that the normal bard doesn't. So this is quite literally Indiana Jones. But you don't get the deadly songs and the healing songs. Beast Tamer. I'm gonna guess this is gonna let you tame beasts. I know, I'm brilliant. Composer of oh my god, I can't read. Sonorous laments of the dead, elaborate requiems for those lost yet long remembered. Okay. Impact living and the dead. So we still got the normal proficiencies, Bardic Knowledge, Jack of all trades, Cantrips, Detect Magic, Inspire Ferocity. So, interesting. So this lets you buff your pets and summoned individuals, including yourself, pet allies. So you're considered a pet. I know the wording's interesting there. And it can buff morale bonus on saving throws against charm and fear effects, and also to attack and damage rolls, both. So 2 hit as well as how much damage you do. You get some talents, not as many. You still get your Fascinate, your crowd control, and the ability to, sing somebody to death. It sounds like me singing at karaoke night. It's not pretty. 13th level, a bard can start a bardic performance as a swift action. So instead of a main action, you could do a swift action and then still, let's say, cast a cantrip or attack. Or actually, I don't know if you can be singing or performing and attacking at the same time. Spontaneous summoning. It can channel stored spell energy summon spells that has prepared ahead of time. Augmented summoning. So each creature you conjure of a summoned spell gets +4 enhancement bonus to strength and constitution. So basically, you just get more powerful pets. And that's pretty big. +4 bonus is like the equivalent of +8 to a stat. It's like having your pets having 8 more strength and 8 more Constitution. Very powerful. Summon Nature's Ally 2. You get 3. So you'll see different things. At first, you can only summon some giant frogs or mites. Whoop-de-doo. But then leopards or frogs or nature mites. And you'll notice the more powerful the creature, you'll only like the most powerful option, you'll get 1. The medium one, 1 to 3, and then the most of the weaker ones. Then you can dire boar, leopards, giant frogs. Then we got manticores, dire boars, or leopards. You can see the theme. The most powerful one gets upgraded, and the other ones all shift down. Inspired ferocity. Ooh, okay. So everybody gets magical fang. If I remember this ability from Pathfinder, is it gives you empowers your attacks. I don't know if it's just base damage or if it adds like a fire or some sort of effect to it. Oh, but in addition to this, all your attacks count as if they were silver and cold iron. So unlike D&D, so D&D will have like weapons that have like +1, +2, and depending on that, it will resist different elements. Here, basically, think of all this ability, that natural attacks, which is like claw attacks, all the pet attacks, counting as silver and cold iron. That's the equivalent of like in D&D being able to bypass magical armor, magical effects. So this is big because as soon as you get past like the low level areas, natural attacks that don't have some sort of magical properties like this become almost useless. So then we get to also get some Mylodons. Then your most powerful one is a Mastodon. You get Inspire Ferocity, a more powerful version of the Inspire Ferocity. Oh wow, now it's Adamantine. So that's the next tier of bypassing resistance, damage resistance. Then you can now get, I have no idea what a narrate is, but it sounds awesome. And then you finally end up with, can get the Hamadryad. Wow, that sounds cool too. And finally, the final tier of Inspire Ferocity. This one lets you greater magical fang spell effect. And then we got Beast Call. Okay, what is the difference between that? Oh, one is spontaneous, and this one just says you can spells. And so I don't know how this is Summon Nature Ally here is different than. Oh, got my mistake. So level 1, you get the most basic one, and then you get level 3, you get Summon Nature Ally 2, etc. So basically, a Bard Summoner that can buff his pets, which is pretty awesome. And also, notice that allies or allies pets. So if you have like other characters in your group that summon pets, you can have like an army of buffed pets here. Pretty cool, even though it may overwhelm kind of the AI pathing. Dirge Bard. So Dirge Bards master musical tools and tropes that must appeal to ear and hearts of both living and dead again. All right. Sure. Let's see. So let's see what the difference here is. All the basic things. The Inspired Courage seems the same. We got Bardic Knowledge is still there. All the normal competencies. Fascinates, you get the crowd control. You still get Dirge of Doom, Brightening. That's all the same. Now you can basically use as a move action to activate as opposed to a main action. And you can even then make it a swift action. Interesting. Inspire Greatness. You get more health, more attack, and more basically physical resistance. You get a heal. And then you get the big heroic inspiration, saving throws and dodging. Then they get Haunted Eyes. Okay, so they get resistances to fear, against fears, curses, death effects, necromantic effects. Haunting Refrain. Primal Terror of Listeners. +2 bonus to DC on spells with fear effects. Interesting. To kind of specialize in fear-like effects. And also Secret of the Grave. And here's where the fear elements come into play. You can use mind-affecting spells to affect undead. That's big because normally undead are immune to fear, etc. Because, they're dead. But this lets you impact both living and dead creatures, undead creatures. You can cause fear, you can command undead, Wave of Fatigue, and Banshee Blast. So kind of like a Cryptic Dark, which again, Dirge Bard, very, very appropriate. Let's look at Flame Dancer. Let's take a look at this one. Flame Dancer studies movement of fire, adding grace to the repertoire. Oh, so this is Flame Bard incoming. Let's take a look. So let's start with Bard proficiencies are the same. Inspire Courage, we got that whole line here. We got cantrips, Detect Magic, Bardic Knowledge, Jack of all trades. Got your Bard talents lined up. Well versed. Okay. Inspire Greatness, we've seen that before. Here's the Heal, Soothing Performance, Inspire Heroics. Here's the differences here. Fire Dance. Level 3, you can perform a performance can bend flames away from others. Alright, let's see. Resist Fire 10. And then goes up to 20 and 30. And basically the way resist work here, so if resist fire 10 is you quite literally resist the first 10 fire damage anytime you take damage. So that's big. So if you get hit for like 200 fire damage, not as big. But if you were getting hit for 15 fire damage every round, this would be huge. You'd resist 10 every time you took damage. Or more. Fascinate, so you get the crowd control and you still get that deathly performance. Bardic, so again, you can use enable via move and swift action. And finally get Fan to Flames. Oh, interesting. So 8th level, you get Burning Hands, Burning Arc, and Fireball of spells. Alright, so basically it just, normally bards just have the cantrips, which are the level 0 free spells. But now you're also going to be able to cast spells. And this is big. So let's say you cast a Fireball into your group because there's enemies there. If any of them get hit by it, you know, they'll get some fire resistance, so they won't take nearly as much damage. So you can kind of do that. I believe there is a disable friendly fire element, or if you play on lower difficulty levels. But if you're playing it kind of traditionally, this would play a bigger role as well. Let's take a look at Thundercaller. I'm gonna guess this means that you control thunder and lightning. So normal proficiencies. The courage line, as we've seen. Cantrips, bound to the land. Okay, so bonuses to lore nature. Jack of all trades is there too. Detect magic. Got those bard/rogue talents again. Well versed, so we get this again. So the whole saving throws to bardic effects. Inspire greatness again. You get the heal one. And the heroics, so pretty normal there. Here's the Thunder Call. So it looks like user performance unleash deafening peril of thunder. Now I've used this. This is really cool in the previous game if this works the same. So within an area, enemies take a bunch of sonic damage and they can be stunned. And then the damage increases to 3d8 and then 5d8 and so forth. Very, very, very powerful and useful from my past experience. They still get the crowd control and the Death Song. They get the Bardic performance buffs. And then here's the other one. Okay, so this is an alternative way of using your performances. So you kind of have to choose which ones you want to use it on. So you can use performance to summon bolts of lightning that deal 3d6 points of electric damage. It lasts as long as she continues her performance. So it's 1 bolt of lightning per round on a random enemy. This is cool. This is the one I kind of had on auto with one of the followers that I had in the previous game. It has a big circle that denotes the area, and she would just be singing, and just lightning bolts come crashing down, doing huge amounts of damage. Really, really cool. There's an updated version at level, what it looks like, level 14. So increases to 5d6 or 5d10 when outdoor and stormy weather. And this is cool as well. So not many games kind of have a correlation between the weather, which is normally artificial, and spell effects. But here, literally, if it's storming and raining, it's going to almost double the damage potential. And then incite rage in enemies. At 6th level, Thundercall can induce furious rage in all enemies. So make everybody get really pissed off. Let's see here. So basically, this makes you have to be careful when you do this because you can make individuals hit harder and they're tougher and harder to impact with will-based attacks, and they get less AC, but they cannot cast spells. So if you do use this on enemy casters, this is great because that extra damage is nothing. They're going to hit you with a staff or something. But be careful if you have a bunch of berserking or physical monsters that don't cast anyway, you can just buff them accidentally. So a bit of have to be careful how you use that. And finally, we got Tranquil Whisperer. Let's see, is there a descriptor for this one? So no, some of these I've noticed don't have the descriptors yet. That may or may not mean that all the abilities are put into this, but let's take a look. Basic proficiencies, bardic knowledge. Nothing changes here. Cantrips, detect magic. You get the inspire tranquility line. Oh, so this is different. So you can use the performance to inspire tranquility in allies, bolstering defense. So this is songs that increase AC and suppresses rage. Now I wonder if that means if you have a barbarian in the group, it will negate its rage, which that would be bad. But otherwise, it keeps people from unraging you unwillingly. So let's say if you have a bunch of casters or non-martial characters, this would be really good. But situational. You got the Bard Rogue talents. You get the CC Fascinate, the Dirge of Doom. You get the Frightening Tune, but you don't get that Death Song. So notice that Death Song that's level 20 is not there. The Bardic performances where you can use them as move action or swift actions are there. Inspire Greatness, Soothing Performance, so they get the heal one. And then Inspire Heroics. And then final Saving Tranquility. So this buffs this Inspire Tranquility effect. Morale bonus to saving throws against mind affecting. So that's huge. Again, so you don't get mind controlled, for example. And then Blind Sense. That is big too. So if it's really, really dark or a monster blinds you. And finally, Tranquil Apotheosis. 20th level, Tranquil Whisperer's mind changes completely, gains immunity to confusion and mind-affecting effects, and counts as outsider. Interesting. Very interesting. So that is the Bard. So, because I kind of jump into these things, as my intro implies, I think I may have underestimated just how much there's to go over here. So, as I mentioned, these videos are meant to be longer, but I just did a calculation that we've gone over 4 classes and other subclasses, and the video is almost 52 minutes long. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to turn this into a series of videos. They're still going to be super in-depth. I'm still going to put all the timestamps in the link below, but we'll start with these 4, and then I'm going to make other videos over the next couple of days to cover all the other classes and subclasses, because let me give you a little preview here. Again, I'm not going to right now click on open the subclasses. Just the class amounts. Take a look at this list. It is absolutely gigantic. You even have they've really outdone themselves in the sequel. They even have all these are kind of specialty classes that you can unlock and multi-class into once you meet certain pre-requirements based off the base classes. So, hopefully you've enjoyed a look at the Alchemist, the Arcanist, the Barbarian, and Bard so far. If you enjoy this content, if it's helped you out, if you're not in beta and you've been curious to learn about these and this kind of got you excited about playing about this game when it comes out, do leave a like. If you have any questions or recommendations, leave them in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video.